Is February 2019 the worst month in Nintendo Switch's near 2-year-long history?
From a first-party perspective, definitely. Because as of today, January 26th, 2019, Nintendo has nothing planned for the month of February. Luckily, since the Switch is not the Wii U, we still have a list of 10 good games from indie and third-party developers including Capcom and Ubisoft that you should definitely check out.
February begins with a gem that has gone under the radar for most, including us, until I was approached in Polish by the developer Mucha Games, in English Fly Games. And Thea the Awakening deserves our attention as the game has received acclaim on Steam and from users on Metacritic since its initial launch in 2015, which shouldn't come as a surprise as this turn-based strategy survival game inspired by Slavic mythology comes with very deep gameplay mechanics, which the developer describes the following way.
Thea the Awakening combines turn-based strategic gameplay with the tension and grit of a roguelike, a captivating story you can uncover through a series of in-game events, and a unique combat system based on a complex card battle game. The rogue part might sound off-putting, but with an interesting premise where you are guiding a group of weak survivors after an apocalypse, there is something for everyone, as even the days and nights are radically different. In many ways, it is explore and craft by day and defend from monsters by night. The hexagonal gameplay goes well with the procedural fantasy world that offers a brand new experience every time you play, and even a very different experience depending on your preferred gameplay styles, whether it is to build, fight, or explore. We can't wait to see if this game could become as good on the Switch when it launches through the Switch eShop on February 1st.
You know what also launches on February 1st? Wargroove by Chuckle Games, who stood behind the amazing Stardew Valley. This is a game we have been anticipating ever since the first Nindy Direct in February 2017. Since then, nearly 2 years have passed and we finally received the release date in the most recent indie showcase, and it came just in time for the script and video. Wargroove is an important title for a number of reasons, but the most important one must be that this is a turn-based tactics title with rather similar gameplay to that of Advance Wars.
Also known as another neglected Nintendo franchise that hasn't seen any entries since 2008's Advanced Wars Days of Ruin on the Nintendo DS. Since we, similarly to F-Zero, can't expect new Advance Wars or titles in the War series, then Wargroove is the next best thing. The game comes with the well-known pixelated art style synonymous with the Advance Wars franchise, and very similar gameplay where you battle against 12 other commanders for survival and glory. Our only grief with this title is that it doesn't have any of the turn-based tactical tank battles which the Wars series is renowned for. In return, you can command and conquer as a dog named Caesar. What? Take our money, Chucklefish, you genius bastards!
Oh look, another Wii U port. But to its defense, it's been on pretty much every other system before coming to the Nintendo Switch. The Book of Unwritten Tales 2 is a point-and-click fantasy adventure game that spoofs classic works such as The Lord of the Rings and even Disney. You will assume the roles of 4 different characters, engaging in over 20 hours of story and puzzle gameplay. The Wii U gamepad was perfect for the touchscreen support, and now it seems like the Switch version will continue using this feature. Why wouldn't it, after all? Don't expect too much hands-on action in a title like this, as it is very reminiscent of classic point-and-click adventure games like King's Quest. So if you're a fan of that genre, you might want to keep your eyes on the Book of Unwritten Tales. Do you need to play the first one to play this? Let us know in the comments below.
Blaze Blue Central Fiction by Arc System Works is a very solid 2D fighting game from 2015. Originally released for arcades, it has since been ported over to PlayStation 3 and 4 in 2016, PC in 2017, and finally Nintendo Switch on February 7th. What else can be said? Besides that it received an 8.5 from Destructoid and a 9 from Eurogamer for its quality gameplay, rich variety of characters, with a roster totaling up to 36. It appears that until Mortal Kombat 11 launches for the Switch, this will be the next best thing when it comes to classic 2D arcade fighters alongside Dragon Ball FighterZ or the Stamina mode in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. By the way, make sure to check out our newest episode of Inside Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. With that said, we love the growing variety of classic fighting games on the Switch, and this title along with Mortal Kombat 11 brings us that much closer to take the plunge and invest into one of those arcade controllers for the true fighting game experience.
When we think about first-person games, this is the first that comes in mind. Usually they are synonyms with brutality and bloodshed, but not in a way journey to the unexpected, which is something as rare as a brand new colourful first-person adventure game. Developed by Aurélien Regard and Jean-Mathieu Guénisson, this first-person adventure sports an anime-like art style and first-person gameplay that combines action, communication and roguelite elements. In some extent, gameplay similar to that found in first-person adventures like the Metroid Prime series.
Of course, we're talking about shooters that have more to them than just shooting every enemy on screen. And in the case of Away, it is requiring new power-ups by befriending NPCs in the game, and then playing portions of the game from their perspective. In other words, you are neither a fighter nor a hero, just a person with great social and negotiation skills. Hopefully the full game will live up to the promising trailers and gameplay videos when Away: Journey to the Unexpected launches on all current gen platforms on February 7th. The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince is an action-adventure game from Nippon Ichi Software that was originally released last year in Japan for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Vita. Luckily, it appears that the game sold well enough, and as such, it was just a matter of time before this title would be brought over to Western and Australian shores.
So what is the appeal of this title? A 2D side-scrolling adventure with a gorgeous and rather distinctive art style and a touching tale about a wolf monster who's repenting his sins toward a prince he blinded out of fear. What is unique though is that you play as a dark wolf monster which decides to protect the blind prince and hides his identity by transforming into a princess. Throughout this rather unusual adventure, it is your task to guide the young prince through the dark forest. The gameplay is closely tied to the plot of the game, where you as the disguised wolf can either hold hands with the blind prince in order to move or give simple instructions to him. In times of need, you will need to protect him as a wolf from other monsters and solve puzzles, though transforming back to a wolf is only possible in set locations. Overall, this looks to be a well-crafted game by NIS that will launch on February 12th in the eShop and in a limited physical release.
Can't get enough of those visual novels? Because boy, we have a game for you. Stein's Gate Elite is an updated version of the 2009 game. Only this time, instead of still images, they are now taking scenes directly from the anime and putting it in the game. Not only that, but the development team also included new animations and voiced dialogue for new scenes not included in the anime. Like many visual novels, it is up to the player to determine how the story unfolds, which will result in different outcomes and endings. We admittedly don't know much about Steins Gate, but we know that quite a few fans will be excited for this much-needed update.
Objection!
It's time to return back to the courtroom and enter it for the first time on the Nintendo Switch. Now this isn't the brand new Ace Attorney title that is in development for the system, but rather an HD remaster of the original trilogy. And that is a good thing, as many of us need to be introduced to the duels Phoenix Wright, Mia Fey and Maya Fey face against prosecutors Miles Edgeworth, Manfred and Franziska von Karma, and last but not least, Godot. The Ace Attorney games are true classics, and sure, this is an action video game novel centered around detective investigations and truly unrealistic court proceedings from a Western perspective, seeing that the series, and in particular this original trilogy, is a satire and parody of the flawed Japanese justice system.
Capcom doesn't hold back on anything, and though the gameplay is really simplistic, the complex background stories and the lives at stake make this trilogy truly come alive, and keep you on your toes to not make any mistakes in the sad, humorous, and downright bizarre cases this series is notorious to throw at you. If you've never played these games on the Nintendo DS or even your smartphone, then the trilogy on the Nintendo Switch is a great place to start. Start your engines and get on your motocross helmets, because it's time to jump into some of the most ridiculous courses designed by human beings. Trials is one of these smaller franchises by Ubisoft, but at the same time the most fun to play in short gaming sessions. Well, that is if you don't have to retry the same course over and over again. You know there is a reason for the name.
Anyhow, Trials Rising is the follow-up to the critically acclaimed Trials Evolution and Fusion, games that never came out on the Nintendo system, which is a shame seeing that these games currently sit between 80 and 90 on game rankings and Metacritic. Now that we are finally getting a Trials title on a Nintendo system, I can't hold my excitement back as this series is awesome. And I'm not just saying this because I love motocross as a sport, but rather that this game series has so much quality and thought put into its tracks and motorcycles. In other words, in a month where we completely lack new titles from Nintendo, Trials Rising is one of the titles you definitely should pick up when it launches on February 26. Hey, that is a whole month prior to Yoshi. The month ends with the smash 'em up Ape Out, developed by Gabe Cozzillo and published by the indie giant Devolver Digital. Originally launched on Steam last year, this game is, well, brutal, as the whole premise of the game is to play as a gorilla, breaks out of its cage and then wreaks havoc on humanity.
Ape Out definitely lives up to its title with its super minimalist but still effective art style that goes perfectly together with the massive violence and human bloodshed that this game revolves around. The gameplay, just like its art style and plot, is simplistic, but frantic, as you run around the facility and use different tools as shields and weapons, on top of rage that can build into devastating momentum. Devolver Digital is renowned for its quality productions, and as such, we can't wait to see how Ape Out will fare on the Nintendo Switch when it launches on February 28th.
And there you have it, 10 Nintendo Switch games coming out in the month of February. This was a rather hard list to compile as there were not too many games to select among. So make sure to leave a like, and if you're new, subscribe and press that shiny notification bell and for all notifications, and join us on the charge toward 200k subscribers. Only 19,000 remain, and when we reach there we promise some big celebrations and announcements, so make sure to subscribe.
Finally, we want to thank all our great patrons for their support, and in particular producer Kenyatta Ali and Patreon hero Holly Wolf. You can join them too on patreon.com/commonrealm and get some awesome perks in return, like our Patreon exclusive podcast. Anyway, until the next one, make sure to check out one of these videos.